Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we are talking about Sonic 2. Is it as good as the original movie? Let's go ahead and talk about it. In Sonic 2, Dr. Robotnik teams up with Knuckles, who is looking after the Master Emerald, which has the power to possibly destroy civilizations. So it's up to Sonic and Tails, who Sonic ends up meeting in this movie, to stop them. So in the beginning of this movie, we have Sonic, who is trying to figure out what it really means to be a hero, because he's, still kind of early on in that process. And then we also see that Dr. Robotnik, he is still on that mushroom planet that we last saw him at the end of the first film, trying to figure out a way to get off, when he ends up sending out a signal that attracts the attention of Knuckles, who shows up and says that, he's looking for Sonic because he believes that he can bring him to what they call the Master Emerald. So Dr. Robotnik, he's like, hey, why don't we team up? That way we can go and find this thing. Obviously, he's using him to try and get off the planet. And then you have Sonic, who ends up meeting up with Tails in this movie. They meet up and they basically have to try and stop, Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik from finding this emerald before they can. So that's pretty much the idea of what happens in this movie without going into, any other spoilers, which there's not a whole lot. It's a Sonic movie, but I won't go into any other details as far as that goes. So I think if you liked the first Sonic film, which was actually a big surprise for a lot of people, because I remember when the original character design for Sonic came out and pretty much everyone else on the internet, everyone was just kind of like, what in the hell is this? They fixed it, which is great, and the movie ended up being a pretty big surprise. So Sonic 2, it wasn't one of my most anticipated movies of the year for sure. Don't get me wrong, I did grow up, I watched some of the movies, some of like the, the TV show and stuff like that they had. I wouldn't say I'm like a die-hard Sonic fan, but I definitely remember watching some of those VHS tapes with my brother and stuff. So was really curious, especially with them introducing Knuckles and Tails coming into this movie. So I was curious to see how that would all work. But I would say, yeah, if you're a fan of the first film, I think that you'll definitely like this one just as much, if not possibly more than the first movie. You still have the wisecracking Sonic in this movie. Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carey, he's back playing the character. I'm almost going to say that I might like him a little bit more in the first film. Not quite as much, this time around, but then you have the additions of Knuckles, who's voiced by Idris Elba, and then Tails, voiced again by Colleen O'Shaughnessy. So that was really cool to see her come back and do the characters, and I just really like the addition of those two characters in this film for sure. With Tails, you get the friend that Sonic really needed and I felt was, missing from the first movie. So you get that aspect and just the back and forth between those two characters, their relationship, and it was great again to see Colleen O'Shaughnessy voicing the character again. And then with Knuckles, again, was probably my favorite character from, some of the episodes and stuff that I watched as a kid. So I was really excited to see him. And I thought Idris Elba does a good job as far as like voicing the character. And you get some really great action sequences between Sonic and Knuckles throughout the movie. So that was really fun to see. The human aspect in this film, it's definitely pulled back from what we got in the first film. There was definitely a lot more focus on that, where you really only had, Sonic, Dr. Robotnik, and, the humans. You didn't have Knuckles, Tails like that, in this film. And I like that they pulled back a little bit more in those characters. Honestly, for me, and when it comes to a lot of these, franchises, Sonic, Transformers, and Godzilla, things like that, really, honestly, most people just want to see those characters. And for some reason, they just feel the need to force these human characters in there. And most of us just don't really care about their interactions. We want to see these characters, their interactions with each other, their worlds. We don't really care about, much of the other stuff going on. So they did pull it back a little bit here, which I did appreciate. But there was still like a sequence where at one point they go to Hawaii. And that sequence for me was definitely a little dragged out, so that was a little bit of a downer. And like I said, this time around, Dr. Robotnik didn't just seem quite as fun. Like, I mean, it wasn't like Jim Carey was terrible or anything like that, but I think I prefer his performance in the first Sonic than this. But he definitely still has some, some cool moments throughout this film as well. And as far as like the story goes, I mean, there's nothing, it's not really complicated. It's a Sonic movie, it's a kid movie, and I think that You know, the screening that I went to, there was definitely a lot of family and kids there. And you can see, and that's what this movie's going for. A lot of the kids, you know, they all seem to really enjoy it. And I think that overall, I had a really fun time with this movie as well. I mean, there's definitely some aspects, like I said, they could probably get rid of the human interaction stuff. You know, some of the plot was a little like iffy at times. But overall, it was still a really good fun time at the theaters. And again, I think if you liked the first Sonic movie, you're going to enjoy this. And it was fun to see, you know, like I said, I'm not a diehard fan, but I do know certain characters and aspects from like the game and some of the, you know, the TV shows and stuff. And there's certain things that are brought in with this movie that actually has me pretty excited to see what they're going to do going forward. So I won't say anything else as far as that goes. Make sure you do stay. There is like a after credit, mid credit scene, so make sure that you stay for that, because that's what I'm really looking forward to with the third film. And overall, guys, as far as the score goes for this, I'm going to give this a 7.5. But overall, yeah, I just think it's a fun time at the movie theaters. Not something you have to go into and really think too hard about. Just to go enjoy the, you know, go enjoy the film. It's a fun popcorn flick, and I think you'll have a good time. So, did you guys get a chance to check out Sonic 2? What did you guys think of the film? Definitely want to hear your thoughts down below. Did you like the first film, or do you prefer Sonic 2? Let me know down below in the comments. And as always, guys, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Please give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.